The man suddenly realized in fear while on the plane. The flight he was on was number 1015, and today's date was also October 15th. Even the flight's original departure time had been delayed from 9:30 to 10:15. That's way too many coincidences. Justin felt a vague sense of unease, but after looking around he saw nothing unusual, so he asked the captain.
Good flight today?
No, very good.
Justin finally relaxed and went to his seat, but before he could sit down, a strange man nodded at him. Justin politely nodded back. Then he noticed something in the seat pocket ahead, an MP3 player, and it was playing a creepy story about Flight 1015. Wasn't that this very flight? Curious, he put on the headphones. The story described exactly what was happening on the plane right now. It said the flight attendant was doing the safety demo, and that it was raining heavily outside. Justin lifted the window shade to check. Sure enough, it was pouring outside. Then the man in the MP3 said that in 1 hour, the plane would vanish from radar and never reappear. Justin thought it was kind of funny, but suddenly the plane jolted. Luckily it was just takeoff, but right after that the MP3 started discussing a plane crash mystery. The first thing it mentioned was Captain Donald, and right then the captain came on the intercom. Justin quickly paused the recording and asked the passenger next to him, "Is the captain's name Donald?" But the man looked confused. He hadn't been paying attention. Justin couldn't hold it in. He told the guy about the creepy story on the MP3 and tried to get him to listen, but the man stood up and left in disgust. So Justin had no choice but to put the headphones back on. The recording continued. At 10:21 a.m. bird would hit the plane. Just then the time hit 10:21. Suddenly there was a loud thud. Justin jumped from his seat. He flung off the headphones in panic. Terror surged through his mind. He ran to the bathroom to calm himself, but the flight kept going smoothly. None of the other passengers seemed to notice anything. Justin started to wonder if he was imagining things. He buckled his seatbelt, then rang for the flight attendant to ask if a bird had hit the plane, but the attendant impatiently said, "There are no birds at this altitude." Justin asked him to confirm with the captain, but the guy told him to keep it down. The argument drew annoyed looks from others. Justin realized maybe the story was making him too paranoid, so he stopped asking questions. But just after the attendant left, that man who nodded at him earlier suddenly sat behind him. He said he was sure a bird had hit the plane. His name was Berman. He used to be a pilot and had worked with Captain Donald, so he knew these things well. But he said the crew usually doesn't inform passengers. His words made Justin nervous again. He put on the headphones and kept listening. It said the plane would disappear from radar at 11:15. It was now 10:30. Time was running out. Sweat instantly beaded on his forehead. He realized he couldn't just sit and wait. He had to find clues to stop the disaster. The MP3 said, "Every disaster has subtle signs. Some are caused by mechanical failure, some by cabin fires that cause panic. When flying through a thunderstorm, certain signals can also affect flight stability." Justin suddenly saw two passengers watching a live stream, so he asked them to turn off their phones, but they said they were on airplane mode and ignored him. Justin got more intense, but the flight attendant asked him to sit back down. Helpless, he complied. Justin put the headphones on again. The recording seemed to know he found nothing and kept narrating like it was guiding him. It said there was an air marshal on board, protecting a witness who was about to testify against the mafia, and the mafia would do anything to stop the testimony. Maybe they'd even attack this flight to silence him. Justin jumped up to look around. He spotted two mafia-looking men at the front. He quietly told the flight attendant that he wanted to talk to the air marshal, but she had no idea there was one on board. Since secret ops like this are not shared with crew, Justin thanked her and headed back. But as he passed Berman, he suddenly had a realization. He turned and sat next to Berman. He suspected Berman wasn't a pilot at all, but actually the air marshal. But Berman denied it, and didn't look like he was lying. When most passengers were asleep, Justin decided to act on his own. He quietly checked the mafia men's overhead bags, hoping to find some clues, but as he opened one, a falling bag hit the man below. Justin apologized and tried to explain, then asked if they were mafia, but the man said they were soccer players. A flight attendant rushed over at the noise and told Justin to sit back down, but Justin was sure they were lying and demanded the crew check their IDs. The cabin broke into chaos. The captain came out, said Justin was endangering other passengers, and told him to sit down and stay quiet. Other passengers began filming him with their phones. Justin had to shut up, but then the MP3's voice made him nervous again. It said there was one more person tied to all this, and that person's name was also Justin. Even had the same job as a journalist. Even the chaos just now was exactly the same. The voice recording it played was Justin's own voice, with the exact same words he just said. Justin panicked. The MP3 kept going. It said when the captain says "Good night New York" to the ground, the plane would vanish completely. Just then, the captain pulled Justin aside and asked if he had mental issues. Everything from the MP3 was coming true, but Justin knew no one would believe him. He begged the captain not to say "Good night New York" in 14 minutes. Everyone thought he was insane. The captain snapped.
Why? Because those are the last words anyone will ever hear from this plane.
if you threaten my plane.
Before Justin could explain, he was tied up. Then a woman showed her air marshal badge and arrested Justin. He was now restrained. Justin begged her to listen to the MP3 and said it matched reality, but she didn't believe it could predict the future. Only 5 minutes remained. Suddenly the captain called the air marshal over. They whispered about something. Justin took the chance to grab the headphones. The MP3 said the plane would disappear after entering a storm zone. The question now was there any way to stop the tragedy? Suddenly Berman sat beside him. He said he completely believed Justin. With his flying experience, at 30,000 feet, anything was possible. Justin finally felt a bit of relief. Someone believed him. Then he had a thought. If Berman really was a pilot and had flown this kind of plane, then maybe he could turn it around and stop the crash. But Berman said the cockpit requires a password, and he couldn't get in. Justin looked at the MP3 and had an idea. The password must be 1015. Berman didn't know why Justin was so confident, but said once he was in the cockpit, he would lower cabin pressure and raise the temperature so everyone would fall into deep sleep. To avoid panic, it was now 1 minute to 11:15. Berman gave Justin an oxygen tank, said once the crisis was over, they'd meet again. A sense of mission surged through both of them.
You are saving these souls.
Then Berman walked to the cockpit, entered 1015, and the door opened. The monitor showed a struggle. Berman had taken control of the plane. The cabin went wild, but as he lowered the pressure, passengers began to pass out. Justin put the oxygen mask to his face and got up to meet Berman, but then Berman said over the intercom,
"Good night, New York."
Justin finally realized Berman was the one who made the plane disappear, and he had become an accomplice. At 11:15, the plane dove into thick black clouds. Shortly after, Justin woke up on a shore. He couldn't believe he was the only survivor. The wreckage floated in the water, but the MP3 glinted in the sun. Justin stumbled over and put on the headphones again. The man inside told the rest of the story. Rescue teams searched right after the plane vanished, but it wasn't until months later that they found the crash island. The shocking part, all 1015 passengers survived, except for a journalist named Justin. He was never found. Justin realized he was stuck here. As he fell into despair, a boy appeared in front of him. Justin thought he was saved, but before he could react, all the plane's passengers showed up, their faces blank as they swarmed him.
Hey, I tried to save us.
But they closed in like zombies and devoured him to nothing. Even at the end, Justin didn't know if he was right or wrong.